Welcome to the SEO Insider with your host, Seth Price, founder of BluShark, taking you inside the world of legal marketing and all things digital.
Welcome, everyone. We are so excited to have Hamid here. He's the president, CEO, and founder of LegalSoft. Welcome, Hamid.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be here.
I've got to know you a little bit on the road, seeing you at conferences, read your book. Tell us about LegalSoft, because you seem to be doing a lot of different things.
Yes, we do. We were trying to simplify managing and scaling a law practice by being a one-stop shop, providing all the operational services and outsourcing of the legal staff, and reducing the cost of operations. So that's our main goal.
Well, look, everybody's trying to figure out, I think, how to leverage overseas labor in one way or another. What are some of the things that you think that you've seen sort of law firms do really well with leveraging, and where are some of the places you see law firms sort of make missteps when it comes to leveraging of offshore labor?
Sure. So traditionally, law firms usually went to Upwork or a bunch of other sites and got a staff, not knowing exactly about the credentials of the staff, their interests, their ability to learn, and so forth. And they tried it, and it was a hit and miss. Some worked, and some didn't work, and some people just gave up after trying 2-3 times. So what we did is a totally different spin on it, is where we have physical presence in 8 different countries, and we have talent acquisition folks in these countries. They screen the staff, like we get 1,000 resumes a day. They screen it to like 100 a day. Out of that 100, we essentially bring in like 30 of them that we qualify, screen, train completely in the legal practice. So we train them as being a PI case manager or PI intaker or employment law paralegal. So we have extensive training curriculum that is designed and created by US-based attorneys who practice in that area, who helped us create that curriculum. So we train him, and then we put him on our payroll, and we deploy him into a law firm as a dedicated full-time virtual staff that are trained to do that specific job. So that's the first part of, No,
I think it's genius. I looked at this myself. I am fascinated by this space. Because I was not boots on the ground in these countries, I sort of said, you know what, I'm just going to do it for myself. So I have a team from Price Balance, team at BluShark. But I think the piece that's most exciting, I would love you to tell a little bit more, because this is the piece that I think is out there, and whoever really gets this at massive scale is going to be very, very successful. It sounds like you're well on your way, which is the training component and how you're going about, you're taking, because getting talent is one thing. There are a lot of people around the world that want to work, right? And there are a lot of good people that you can screen. But most of the organizations that are out there sort of, here's your person, but there's not. So walk me through, both the training and what you've learned while training, because it's very different training somebody with different cultural and educational backgrounds than it is when you have somebody standing right in front of you. Sure.
We're doing it very visual, and it's not just instructional. We show them how some of the things are done, and we structure that to say, if you're going to be an intake PI person, here's a sample intake form that you'll be working on and collecting information. And once you do this information, like our intake staff also get trained to send the retainers out and help the client sign the retainer and give it back. So you're not passing the lead or the client or prospect to multiple places. So that's the one first of the training. And then we have a year-round training for that person to be able to advance them in a few different areas. For example, let's say you're using FileVine or Litify or Clio or something like that. We have partnership with these companies, which we have certified people on our team who train that individual to also how to work with Clio.
That's genius. As I said, I was waiting for somebody to do this. Didn't realize that you'd gotten this advanced. How much training does somebody have before they get transferred into a law firm? Because there's the basic training, and then how that law firm uses it. But what you're doing has got to be 80% of the way.
Sure. It's about 40 hours of training that is continuous and structured and is been examined and so forth. And then we have the continuous training after the staff is deployed into the firm to do advanced training in other areas. So, for example, if they are intake person and they need to know about, opening the matter in the case management software, so we teach them how to open the matter. Or if he goes into collecting, police reports, insurance policies, and so forth, so we train him on that. What are the terminologies that the PDs are like? And then we go into document collections. What is the medical record? How you collect it? Where you do with it? Where you put it? All of that stuff is a continuous training all the way where we place licensed attorneys in other countries as associates and paralegals in the US.
That's awesome. Which countries are you in? Have you seen certain countries work better than others? Are there some that you don't work? What do you love?
Sure. So we started from Philippines, like everybody else does. It's a great country, great talent pool, but they're good on tracking, organizing, creating tracking sheets, document management, and so forth. When we go to the intake, where it needs a little more of a convincing and salesmanship and so forth, which is like in the intake area, places like Colombia, Ecuador, they're really good. So
well, I'm glad to know we're on the right track. I punted on Philippines and we put our guys in those locations.
Yeah. So, and then you keep going on. And when we even go to Mexico, where there's a lot of US citizens live in Mexico, which they want to work still remotely from Mexico, because now they're residents of Mexico. So we even do that, and Dominican Republic and so forth. So we are sort of like very engaged with those countries. We have offices, we have legal representations. And then, Seth, there is one more element after these folks are deployed. We also have to teach the law firm how to work and manage with
absolutely
VA, because they really don't know. So we have training sessions for the attorneys and the case
that's awesome.
And so forth. It says, look, this is how you interact and manage the VA this way. And this is what you can expect to get. And then it just continuously moves on. Now, what's the third biggest challenge once you got one of these working VAs in your firm? Is how to keep them engaged and not have them jump ship for 50 cents extra pay. Is give them benefits and secure their future. So with these VAs that we deploy, they're full-time, dedicated per law firm. We provide them the workstations, high-speed internet, communication system, health insurance for themselves and their spouse. We even go as far as giving them continuing education funding and immigration services and the retirement. So they are very engaged by having a future with LegalSoft working for your law firm.
That's awesome.
So
are you acting as a BPO?
Yes, we're acting like a BPO, and we go a little bit even extended version of that, because that only handles payment processing basically, but they don't offer a whole lot of benefit that is tailored to these VAs. Like a lot of them need immigration services. So let's say, for example, if you're a law firm, you have 5 VAs from us, and one of them stands out, and you want to bring this person, we offer you after a certain period of time, which we bring your VA to the US for a week, and we even pay for everything. So he or she can spend a week with your team locally or attend one of your conferences. I don't know if you know Gary Dordick. Dordick is law firm.
Yeah, of course. Dordick Trial.
Okay. So he had his Trial University conference that he does every year in Kabul.
Correct.
And our team went, we're a sponsor, we're an exhibitor, whatever. And these 2 ladies come forward at the booth, and my colleague asked them, so who are you? What do you do? I said, we are attorneys working for Gary Dordick, and we are here helping with the conference. They're 2 lady attorneys. And they said, oh, that's great, and so forth. Those 2 attorneys turned to our folks to say, we work for you. We're part of LegalSoft.
Oh, that's awesome.
You're like, oh, wow, this is crazy. Gary Dordick is very reputable firm, high-end litigation, great success and everything. And he has saw so much value in this proposition and these attorneys that worked for him that are remote, that he brought them to Mexico to help out with this conference. that's the proof of concept.
That's awesome. That's great stuff. When you're doing this, I mean, all the stuff you're talking about, fascinating. Is it sort of once every so many years you bring them to the US? How do you determine when you bring people to the US?
After they're with us 1 full year, they get eligible to bring them to the US for a visit. So there's some immigration work, some visas, housing, transportation, and stuff that we accommodate. But let me tell you, another piece of the element that we solved during this process is safety and security. That is usually a concern. It hasn't been great concern of mine because if they don't, even the people working in the office could do the same things that somebody does remote anyway. But with the folks that work with the legal stuff, we capture their screen every 15 minutes. We record all of the calls.
Which software are you using for that?
We have our own software that interfaces with a couple of other systems.
Yeah.
So we have one portal where you log in and see all of your VAs, all of their timesheets, what they're working on, what they haven't worked on, all of their calls you can listen to, watch their screens, everything like that. So it's well-managed environment and safe and secure to make sure that they are working and they're working on the things that are supposed to.
Well, let me challenge you on something, because the term that I don't love is VA. To me, I want them to be team members, paralegals, attorney, intake. Why call them VAs?
It's because of the terminology that started wrongly, because it was so we just adopted it. But as soon as they become part of the LegalSoft team, we call them a team members.
Yeah.
And when they're at the law practice, we call them a team member because they're fully integrated into the practice anyway. So it's like your people sitting outside of your office don't have that kind of a title. So what should they? I 100% agree. And we encourage the firms to include them into even their holiday parties remotely, all the gatherings they have, celebrations. If there is a bonuses be handing out, we have a bonus program for them. So yeah, you're absolutely right. They need to not be categorized as a VA.
Absolutely. That's awesome. Tell me, so I was really inspired. I thought the book was great. Is that something that you have available for people?
Absolutely. Anybody contact me. There's 2 books now. One was How to Scale Your Stupid Law Firm, that I think you were referring to this book.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And the second book that just came out, I crossed out the stupid and replaced it with AI. So everything you ever want to know, the impact of AI in the law practice, doesn't matter if it's a transactional law or litigation. I explain to best of my ability what is going to happen to the practice when the AI is in full blown.
Well, let me ask you that. Let's sort of conclude with that topic, which is with AI. What, obviously we could talk globally, but where are some of the places that you see the intersection of law firm, VAs or international workers and AI? Where are some of the places that law firms should be leveraging, understanding it's changing every day, it's getting more advanced, but there's so many different places. I'm curious about what are you excited about?
Sure. The first impact of the AI is on the transactional law. Transactional law to me is immigration, bankruptcy, estate planning, tax, real estate contracts, corporate formation. This is all transactional. And essentially, the AI is going to fulfill about 80% of that does not require any litigation. So that's the first impact. The intake, filing the application, submitting the application, all this supporting documents needs to be collected and submitted. All of that is going to be a part of an AI application. On the contingency firms, like the PI, employment, labor, workers' comp, those guys, a part of intake for sure is going to be AI. So how we screen clients, how do we intake, how we make them eligible, all of that is going to be part of the AI. And then the second part, when you're doing the pre-lit and you're doing document collection, medical record analysis, in 30 days, we're launching our first complete demand writing services that is 100% AI, supervised and managed by a licensed attorney. But essentially, the entire demand writing is an AI with fraction of the cost that you would have somebody in-house do it. And the first version is actually gives you 3 demands a month for free. So you can essentially have this demand writing machine that you plug it in and it just spits out your demands.
No, and look, obviously you're onto something here in that we're seeing huge valuations for the companies that are focused on that entirely.
Right.
And so very, very exciting. Well, look, I got to say, you are definitely an inspiration. Really enjoy this and hope that our audience got some, because to me, it's not just the hiring of international labor, but it's the training, management. And what I loved you talking about was the training of the law firms to leverage the labor effectively, because without that, you're really missing a piece.
Right. Absolutely. Agreed.
Well, thank you so much for your time, and I can't wait to see you at the next exotic destination that we end up in.
Thank you very much. It was nice seeing you again.
Thank you so much for your time.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for tuning in to the SEO Insider with Seth Price. Be sure to check back next week for fresh insights into building your brand's online presence. Episodes are available to stream directly on BluShark Digital's website.